How's it going, everybody? I'm your local Whovian, and let's get back to Whovian theory. This episode, we've got monsters and aliens top 10 list. The last top 10 list type list that I did with the doctors did really well, as well as the Weeping Angels videos, so you'll see how those tie together at the end of this list. But either way, let's get into this with number 1. I said number 1 there. I'm leaving it in. I meant number 10. This list starting off with a great start, everybody. All right, so at number 10, I have the Nestine consciousness. So I took this because when I was first getting into Doctor Who, this was one of the ones that creeped me out the most at first, because the way that they make things look creepy in the show, it showed me everything in this one moment with these plasticky moving, but it's also like at these weird like body horror, because it's like mind control also too. So it's like, could humans become Nestine? I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there's books and stuff where there's liberation in it, obviously, but I mean, this is all just fascinating stuff to me, and it's one of the things that I love about Doctor Who is they can make the simplest things creepy, like a shopping mall, what do they call this? Mannequin, for instance. I couldn't think of the word for a second, but yeah, it's very fascinating how they can make the weirdest and simplest things scary. Anyway, let's move on to number 9. And at number 9, we have the Vashta Nerada. So I could probably put these higher on the list. I was actually making some last minute changes to the list. So in a later part of this list, I say I don't really make changes to these lists. I realized there were some really important ones that I left out. So things are getting edited in the middle. So the continuity is broken at this point. But either way, the Vashta Nerada are really, really creepy. That's a huge factor for why I put the monsters on this list that I did, and the aliens, because they creep me out, or they have something that makes me really, really interested in them based on their origin or history. So either way, let's move on to number 8. At number 8, we have the Sontarans. So I don't know how people are going to feel about this one. I just, there's something about the Sontarans that over the years have just grown on me. I don't know what it is, but I do really enjoy them, and I thought they deserved a spot on this list. Not too high of a spot again, but I thought that, if we're going to make this list 10 lists long, 10 numbers long, is that how you say that? Math. Clearly I passed college, right? But anyway, I think, as we get like higher on this list, you'll start seeing things that you like more anyway. So, especially as we get through here. But there will probably still be some disagreement, and I'm okay with that, because, this is meant to create discussion, not to put anybody down for their opinion. So let's move on to number 7. At number 7, we have the Clockwork Repair Droids, or the Clockwork Droids, or whatever you want to call them. The repair droids from the Madame de Pompadour, the SS or US or SpaceX. I don't know, Elon Musk's droids. Anyway, so these were really, really creepy. Like, I talked about the Nestine consciousness being really creepy. I think I meant to anyway, and like the way their movement was kind of very, not robotic. This is actual robots that were moving in like a clock fashion, which I didn't think could be creepy, but then you think about the way a clock ticks, it is kind of ominous as the ticking of time, and they're very associated with that. Also, the idea of them trying to repair a ship with actual parts of a human being is terrifying. It's very terrifying, yeah, so they definitely deserve a spot on this list. They may even deserve a higher spot on this list, but it's just the way the list fell. I write these lists out and I don't change anything on them really, except I did change one thing on this list, but it didn't really make that much of a difference. So we'll move on to number 6. So at number 6, we are coming in hot with the Silurians. So yeah, rounding out the first half of this list, we have the Silurians. Again, this is just one that when I heard the concept the first time, when I first watched an episode that had the Silurians in it, I had to go back and watch everything that had them with the Sea Devils in it. The idea of a race existing on Earth, the United States, on Earth that, doesn't exist to us, but they were here before, and then they come out of hibernation to attack Earth, or they went into hibernation to avoid Earth originally, or however it falls in the timeline. I think it just fascinates me in the same way that other characters on this list will fascinate me, and it's gonna show when I do other lists like this with specific characters in mind, because when I did the Doctor, I was thinking specifically about things that I love about the Doctor, but this is just overall villainous monsters and aliens. So we'll see what happens here on number 5. This one is probably certain to cause some disagreement, but at number 5 I have the Daleks. I'm only ranking the Daleks so low because in the modern incarnations we haven't seen all that many great stories, in my opinion, with them since Russell T Davies left. Again, that's probably a hot take, I don't know, but either way, I just, that's what I feel, and I'm not gonna not put a person on, or a character on a list where I believe they deserve to be. Now, either way, whether you agree with me or not, I think the Daleks are a great character, but you probably will disagree with them being below another character that I'll get to, and I'll address that. But at the same time, I still think it's just how I personally feel about this, and I don't really need to I feel like explain it further sometimes than that, because going back and looking at a character like this that's so threatening, it should feel more threatening when they show up in some of these more modern stories, and sometimes they just don't, to me. And maybe that's because I didn't grow up with the Daleks as a character, but I just think that they've lost a lot of their sheen, and maybe I'm incorrect about that. But if you disagree with me about that, let me know in the comments, and I'll be sure to spark some discussion. So let's move on to number 4. At number 4, we have The Flood. So if we're talking about episodes that really creeped me out, this is like taking a concept I thought was really cool, there being water on Mars and being able to go to Mars one day. Hey, SpaceX got brought up again. But this is really creepy. The way the Flood look, and the way they infect, and the way that if you're even like kind of in the same room as them, you might as well get out right now or you're done. And there's no recovering you as far as we're aware. I mean, maybe the Doctor could figure something out, but I doubt it. This is really, really creepy stuff here. I'm not sure what else to say. They're just very, very creepy. Oh yeah, and I just came in a little hot there. There's my phone buzzing. Sorry about that, but there is also the idea with this whole episode that this kind of like pushed the Doctor to a point where he was very, very vulnerable and dangerous. So yeah, but anyway, either way, let's move on to number 3. At number 3, we have the Cybermen, who creep me out to some of the most directly relatable degrees. So I have actually got like a huge fear, not of technology, but of like human augmentation with technology, because I could see it coming in the future, and it really has always kind of creeped me out. Cyborgs and stuff like that. Not that I wouldn't. I mean, if it was required and someone was like, get this upgrade, I'd probably do it, but I don't know. It just seems like something very creepy to me. It seems like something that very much could happen in the real world, and that's why they got so high a spot on this list from me. So let's move on to number 2. At number 2, we have the Midnight Entity. So yeah, we were talking about creeping factor the whole time. I was trying to decide between the Silence and the Midnight Entity, who was going to go at number 2. Silence are going to be considered an honorable mention at this point, but the Midnight Entity, the repeating thing is so creepy. It just, and the knocking and everything that is just involved in this, and it builds into this perfect crescendo of just weirdness, and there's never an answer given, and that's the way it should be in some Doctor Who episodes, especially this one. David Tennant just does such a great job selling the not knowing something, and it really puts the audience in a weird position, seeing the Doctor in a position we don't generally see him in, which is one of, I don't know what's going on, I would like to know what's going on, let's figure this out together. Not that he doesn't always try and figure some things out like that, there's other scenarios like that too, but this is one where he doesn't actually know what he's seeing. He hasn't seen this before and just forgotten. He's never seen this before. And I find that really fascinating, and I don't think anyone's gonna be surprised based on a previous video of mine what number 1 on this list is gonna be, but let's get to it anyway. So at number 1, let's get to it. At number 1, I have the Weeping Angel. So yeah, I did a whole video breaking down overanalyzation, overthinking that I've done with the Weeping Angels, and I would really like to see a really interesting Weeping Angel arc come back to the fold of the show eventually. I really would love to see that, but either way, I just think we give Stephen Moffat a lot of crap for the way he ran the show from 2010 to 2017, and I think this is before then, during the Davies era, when he was really still into writing really interesting story arcs, especially concerning these characters, which he always gave a good treatment because they were obviously his creation. This has been a good list so far. If you guys definitely, if you disagree, put your list in the comments down below. If I missed something on my list that you think should have been there, but you don't want to do a full list, let me know in the comments as well. Make sure you subscribe to know every time I upload a new video like this. Check out the Brotage if you're into gaming montages, and like the video if you liked it. Either way, I'll see you all next time.